Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. It is another beautiful day out here in Arizona. Though it is starting to get a little warm, I think we had our second 100-degree day yesterday. So today I want to talk to you real briefly on an 18-month review of the Honda Pioneer. So 18 months, wow, it's gone by pretty quick. If you haven't checked out my 12-month review, check it out. I go more in depth on why I chose the Pioneer and some of the key features of the Pioneer, and then I have some other videos out there of the shortcomings of the Honda with the Pioneer and my 5 favorite mods. So don't forget to check those out too. So 18-month review. Well, what do we got? Well, we got just over 1,600 miles. I drive this thing, like I've said in previous videos, 5 days a week on average. Not real far, you know, just to school and back, whatnot. I haven't actually gotten but one camping trip out of it this year, and I am averaging around 100 miles a month. You're going, hold on, 18 months, 1,600 miles. Well, there was a couple months last year when I was moving that I wasn't able to drive this, and there's gonna be a month this year where I'm not gonna be able to drive this because I'll be out camping doing other things. But I am averaging about 100 miles a month when it's available. So in that 18 months, what have we had to do to it? Well, basic maintenance. So let's take a quick walk around and I'll talk to you about it. So if you look at my 12-month review, this Pioneer has changed, and we'll go over that here in a second. So basic maintenance, what is that? Well, so the initial servicing is at 100 miles. And it's a pretty simple service. They change the engine oil, they check the valves, which on the 1000s, they don't really need to be checked, from my understanding. Most people say the 500s and 700s need adjustments, and the 1000s don't, but I had them do it anyways. They also check torque on different bolts and lubricate different things. So your next servicing is 600 miles after that. And what does that include? Well, that's one pretty much anybody can do. The 600 mile servicing, it's really at 700, it's 600 after the initial servicing, is going through checking lubrication, torque, and whatnot. It's really easy if you look at your owner's manual. And then 600 miles after that is your next oil change. So you're getting 1,200 miles on an oil change. Really, that's all this thing is needed, except for a couple things. So on the oil change, it's due every 1,200 miles. Now I go above and beyond. I had them change the sub-transmission while they were in there, and then I went ahead and I changed the differential oils. And the only reason I had the dealership change the oil is while I had some recalls on it, so I wanted to get those knocked out of the way. So I'm running AMSOIL in the differentials, and then the Honda oil in the engine and transmission. Now Honda says every 2 years the differentials and sub-transmission needs to be changed. I'm just going to change it every 1,200 miles. If I'm doing one, I do them all. So what problems have we had with this thing? Well, not much. Had a bent tie rod, but the only person I can blame that on is me, and I actually drove on it for about 6 months bent before I got in there to change it, and I made a video on that. The big problem I had was a fuel injector. And it wasn't actually a fuel injector, it was the plug that went into it. The wire had broke. And I don't want to say it's a common problem, but it's come up more than once in the past. So I went ahead, I have a video on that, on how to fix it. If you take it to Honda, they want to replace the whole wiring harness. But really, it's a $20 fix. I actually replaced both fuel injector plugs, soldered everything in real nice and easy. And that's the only real problem I've had with this thing. It's been a great UTV, great side-by-side. So let's talk about some of the changes I made, not only to make it mine, but more comfortable for me. So the first thing you notice when you look at it is you got wheels and tires. And I'm not going to complain about the stock 4-ply tires I put on there. These are also a little bit bigger, so they ride better. These are truck tires. So these tires are a 235/75/15 light duty truck tire. They're a mud train. I actually have a spare that's a little bit different tread that I like better. I got this whole setup for under 700, and at one point you could have got it for around 500. I actually have a second set of rims for it. The next thing I did is I put a real skid plate. As you can see down here, it's a 3-piece factory UTV skid plate. And the reason I put that on there is I like to bash around the rocks a little bit, and the factory one just wasn't gonna cut it. I did take the front part of the skid plate off. If you look at back of my videos, I put this Super ATV frame stiffener, and it really enhances the lower mounts for the A-arms. Is it necessarily? Probably not for most people, but I like it. I wish they would make something for up here. The metal that they use down here is just so much thicker than the factory points. And I have seen a couple of people, not many, tear these AR mounts. While you're in here, you'll also notice I did the Super ATV forward and rear A-arms. I like these because they have the arch in them down here. They've moved everything forward. And I did put the Rhino brand axles. It's funny that that's just how I backed it up, and there it is. And that's because this joint right here is going to be pushed to the extreme. I did not put the steering stops in, and I just have to remember not to hammer it in 4-wheel drive. So one of the things I really like about the Super ATV arched forward and rear A-arms is my new approach and departure angle. And what do I mean by that? Well, now I've got oversized tires that are 28.5 to 29 inches, and I've pushed the A-arms forward 1.5 inches and back 1.5 inches. So let me show you where I'm at. So if you look right there at the front, and I'm trying not to make it not fair, the tire basically goes out to the end of the roller fair lead. The roller fair lead is, you know, it's out there, but that gives me a great approach angle on anything. And if we go over to the back, and I were to take that hitch off, as you can see, I am right back past the heat shield for the exhaust. So as long as I don't go above the exhaust when we get up into this area, my departure angle is awesome. All I gotta do is pull out the receiver, which is just a pin. With my high lifter lift, the A-arms and the tires, I'm about 14.5, 14.75 of an inch of ground clearance under the center of the buggy. It's pretty good. And then for that added stability that I complained about in my 1-year review, I am running 1.5 inch wheel spacers on the back tires to give the track width about the same. They say 1-inch wheel spacers are good, but you know what? I had the 1.5 inch laying around, so that's what I was going to use. That is one of the beauties of having a Pioneer with oversized tires and aftermarket A-arms. If you're into rock crawling or you end up crossing a lot of ditches or ravines, this is the setup for you because there's really no overhang. Those are some of the things I did to make this more comfortable for me. Are they required? Absolutely not. As you can see, I've added the light bar, no winch. You know what? I think a winch is almost mandatory if you're going to go off-road at all. I've used the winch in my backyard pulling trees down, all kinds of fun stuff. I've never had to use it for the Pioneer, and I've tried, but I'm not a big mudder because it just takes forever to clean off, and we live in Arizona, so there's not a lot of mud. But as you can see, I've done some other mods. The windshield, didn't think I'd like that. I really do like the windshield right now. I have the top part removed and just kept the bottom part. The bottom part does whistle a little bit through the holes. It wasn't designed to do that, but I can just put some plugs in there and it'll be fine. We've done the roof. Other than that, we haven't done too many other modifications. A harness bar with some harnesses, and then some factory under seat storage and under dash storage. If you don't have the under dash storage, I recommend you get it. I'm amazed at how much I use it. So what changes do I have coming for the Pioneer? Well, I've talked about it in the past numerous times, and shucks, let me show you why. So my 1-year review, now I said this thing runs buttery smooth, and it really did for about the first 1,200 to 1,400 miles. And now the suspension's just getting really rough. And the only reason I haven't done the shocks yet is they're just really expensive. If I go with the 814 Viking shocks, you're looking at $1,100, $1,200. And if you go with the factory Fox shocks, you're looking at like $1,300 to $1,500, depending on if you can find them on sale. So that's a really big expense. So other than changing the fuel injector plugs, adjusting the rear differential, which in my eyes it's gonna be basic maintenance, because remember, I got the cable actuated everything, and even if you get the LE, your rear differential is gonna be cable actuated. Cables will stretch over time, or they're just not exactly adjusted perfectly at the factory. So this might need some fine tuning, which takes a couple minutes to do. So one thing I do want to point out for the people out there is, you know, this has the paddle shifters, and I always say it gets better with time, you know, and it gets quieter. I'm here to tell you, with over 1,600 miles, it's nice. It is super buttery smooth. The worst part on it is the throttle can be pretty touchy, but I guess I'm used to it. It's right there, you goose it all and it just goes. Even with these oversized tires, I can still squeal the tires on pavement, blacktop, whatever you want, forward and reverse. It goes. Is it the quickest machine out there? No, but I'm really happy with it. It still does the 66, 67 miles an hour top speed. If you go back to my original video, you'll see that I said I needed something that could seat 5 people comfortably and do, you know, 50 plus miles an hour, with these being street legal out here in Arizona. And this absolutely does it. The bigger tires, it takes a little bit longer, but who cares? So, would I buy this machine again? Absolutely. Zero regrets on having it now. I absolutely love it. I love the short wheelbase. I love that it seats 5. As you can see now, I don't have the back seats up. I find that within the neighborhood, I don't need the back seats up at all. Usually it's just my youngest son or my wife going to t-ball, or me and a couple of kids going to soccer practice, or taking them to school. Other than the fuel injector wiring harness issue, I've had zero problems with this thing. So this Pioneer has been a true beast, and it's gonna get even better through the summer. Like I've said before, shocks are probably my next upgrade. I actually am gonna fix the no parking brake issue. I ordered the part. It should be here any day. Unfortunately, it got sent to Guam. I checked it this morning. It's in Hawaii, so hopefully in the next couple days it'll be here. I wouldn't mind putting a power commander on here. I'm doing a Colorado ride in September. Other than that, this machine is pretty much the way I want it. I do want to go bigger tires in the future, but until then, I'm absolutely happy. So don't forget to give me a big thumbs up if you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time.